Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? I'm ready. I will call to order our Board of City Commissioners of February the 2nd. Call a roll, please.
Vogel,
Here.
Agee,
Here.
Harrod,
Here.
Maynard,
Here.
Ball,
Here.
Shaw,
Present.
Dykstra.
Here.
Have one.
We do have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is our invocation, and our pastor from the United Presbyterian Church is here. Please stand if you're able.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we pray for your blessings to be on this meeting tonight. We give you thanks for our leaders, for their commitment to our city and to its people. We pray that they will lead with wisdom and discernment. Amen.
Commissioner Dykstra will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge.
Item number 1 is consider approval of the consent agenda, and I've had a request to item D and E to move it out of the consent and move it down, and so we can discuss that. And we have Michelle Briggs here from the Avitas Foundation, so if that's all right with y'all.
Okay, I move to approve the consent agenda, moving items D and E till later.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dykstra and a second by Vice Mayor Harry.
James.
Michael.
Okay. It's good to see you.
Oh. Motion carries. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion on the rest of the consent agenda.
Bro, I just got moved. We just did it.
No, I thought we moved those two down, didn't we?
D and E.
D and E. So that's the same thing. You approved it two at the same time. I'm sorry. Okay. Citizens' participation. At this time, we do welcome.
D and E, or are you going to get?
No, I was going to get them. I know there's some people wanting to speak, and then I'm just going to move it in there, okay? Right in there. I know there's some people here wanting to speak. So from citizens, if there's anyone here who'd like to speak, please come forward. We do welcome citizens' participation, and please sign in and state your name and speak in the mic because you're on TV, and they want to hear what you have to say like we do.
My name's Darrell White, and I have a serious concern with the intersection at Union and MacArthur. Wondering if there was any way that there could possibly be put some turn lights in there.
Union and MacArthur.
You come out going north on Union, trying to get on MacArthur to turn left, you're gonna get honked at and cussed at and everything else before you get out of there, because there's so many people
there-
coming south on Union Crossing.
There where the school
Is that where the school
Yes,
is?
it's at Will
By
Rogers
the
School.
bank?
I'm there every morning.
officer or something?
Yeah, but
I thought there was a light already
no,
there.
I'm glad you're here. Now, talk to me a little bit. Are you talking about, I thought there's a stoplight there.
There's a stoplight there.
Yes,
But
sir.
if you're headed north on Union and
Headed
you
north.
try to turn left,
Oh, it doesn't have a left turn signal.
there is no turn signals whatsoever
Oh,
there.
that's what you're asking.
That's
only
what
two
I'm
lanes
asking,
as
if
well.
that's
Okay,
feasible,
sir.
could be possible.
Well, I don't know about that possibility, but I know we need to
It's a mess.
investigate that. It's a mess,
When's the
huh?
traffic
It-
commission meeting?
I think it was on our study in our, it was brought up about the signals and the four laning
Okay.
there, because I agree with you, sir, that is the most dangerous intersection in this city,
didn't realize
I
that.
believe.
It's bad
Anybody
enough with-
northbound
Yes, you
is
can't
gonna
go
get
nowhere.
it T-boned.
It's bad enough with parents kicking their little ones out in the middle of the street and running off because they're running late to work or the hairdresser or whatever. but
Yes, sir.
That intersection's bad.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and talking to us about that. I've never really noticed that problem, but I'm not there at the time.
I
So-
know a
It-
lady
it's a
really
problem.
well. My mother-in-law who got hit right there turning left. She got
Well, I've seen
broadsided.
one right there because I stopped and the lady, a guy come around me, hit another car, almost head on there because of it.
Yes. When's
Well-
the traffic commission
well-
meeting?
I've seen more people rattle around in their cars being hit there than in a,
We have a traffic commission that meets at the fourth Tuesday. And does anybody remember what time they meet?
I can give him the number.
Huh? 6:30 in the evening?
AM?
No, PM. And sir, it's sometimes really, if you could squeeze that into your schedule, the fourth
Well,
Tuesday.
I'm retired, I can.
Okay,
I'll
put that
schedule it.
down for 6:30, and Justin, can you try to get him on the agenda, please, sir?
Mr. White.
We do appreciate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Man, that's, any other citizens, please? No other citizens here that want to speak? Okay, then I'm going to move to item D and E. Item number D is request authorization to advertise for bids for the Boy Scout Park splash pad site construction for installation of selected water feature apparatus. And the other is authorized, can we take them combined? Or do we have to take them
You need to
individually?
vote separately, but you
Okay.
can have your presentation
Well, that's all right.
either one.
Ms. Briggs, would you like to come forward and say some words on these matters?
Michelle Briggs, President of the Avitas Foundation, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Avitas Foundation, we are awarding a grant, matching grant in the sum of $203,000 plus change to the City of Shawnee for construction of a splash pad in Boy Scout Park.
Wow.
We
Thank
can't
you.
tell you how much we appreciate
Oh,
that. The Vitas
my.
has done so much already for
I
the
think it's
community.
proper for a round of
Yeah.
applause.
I'll share that. And Mayor, if you'll come here, I'll award the check to you.
I get all the fun. That check's not made out, it's made out of the city of Shawnee, and it's not made out of.
Yes.
Look right here again. Thank you so much. Wow. Whoa. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Wes is gonna be the first one to use that splash pad.
Yeah.
Get to hang on to it. Well, along with that, so that,
I guess since they were on consent, you can vote on them together. I had them right
Okay.
there.
Move to
no,
approve.
wait, I want to just tell somebody, so before we vote on all this. I have been told for someone at the Capitol that we have a big time shot of getting that $110,000 grant from the tobacco industry that we've been waiting, and we've applied for it and everything, and it's supposed to come back. So I talked to someone this week, and they said, I don't think they award it till like the end of February. But we have had all our stuff put in there, and if we get that 110, you know, we've really got an opportunity in that park, and it's gonna be wonderful for that area. Okay, I'll shut up.
Motion to approve items D and E that was formerly in the consent agenda.
Okay, go ahead, I'm
You want some
sorry.
discussion?
I just had a question, that's all.
Sure.
When I read the packet, it just said that the money would come from other sources. I just want to know what those sources are.
Absolutely, Commissioner. As the mayor mentioned, we have strong suspicion that hopefully we'll be successful for that major additional grant. I've also talked to the pool committee and Mr. Tomlinson that's been instrumental in that effort. And he's indicated that the pool committee has some additional funds remaining from their fundraising efforts that they can commit. It should be somewhere between approximately $50,000 and $60,000. And so with the Avitas money and the potential for the other grant and the $50,000 or $60,000, the actual expenses direct to the city could be as low as $30,000 or $40,000. So we're just getting an amazing, wonderful project for practically free.
Okay, so I know there's a good possibility we'll get the
Yes.
grant, but what if?
Yeah, and excellent question. If we do not get that grant, then we will take it out of fund balance.
Okay.
We just feel like this is an opportunity that we can't pass up.
Okay.
And that's kind of what that fund balance is.
Or Linda AG check would work
Right.
too, right?
No donations.
Yeah, I'll make up the difference, thanks. Okay,
I would also note too, just you may have caught it in your packet, but one of the things that we're really excited about is to try to get this open as quickly as possible so that students, kids can use this this summer. And so included in your packet is a pretty aggressive time frame that shows the potential completion as early as mid-May. And one of the ways that we're able to do that is by these apparatus that are used at the splash pads are built at the time of order. They're not just sitting on a shelf somewhere. And so your authorization of item E allows us to place that order for that equipment tomorrow, essentially, because it takes about 3 months for that to be manufactured, and then it can be installed. Whereas if we waited until the contractor was hired for the rest of the site, and they ended up ordering the equipment, we'd be into June or July before the project would be open. So we're really excited that this could actually open in May at the exact same time as the pool facility, as the primary aquatics facility. So
That's great.
Fantastic.
No, go ahead.
Well, are there more than one, I guess, splash pad pump maker people that you looked at, or was it just this one made to order?
no, there are. We looked at multiple sources.
And we went out for bid, right?
The equipment itself is not out for bid in the traditional sense. Now, what you're agreeing to go out for bid for is all the site work, the concrete work,
Right.
the plumbing, all of that is competitively bid. But the apparatus itself, each company is unique in what they design, how they design it. They're kind of a sole source provider. So what we did was evaluate what's out there, what's available, got price quotes, and chose the one that we felt was the best fit.
Great, okay.
I don't know if I sent you the email to you or something, but there's that whole week in May when we open our pool, and if we could get this splash pad open, it's gonna be a great, exciting event. And I tell you what, block that time off on your calendar for our city. It is gonna be unbelievable what Avitas is putting together, and that's why it's so critical. We get all this stuff open at the same time. Wow, what a splash it'll make.
Plus, we've got the, what is it, the dispatch center opening that month as well.
Yeah, there's a
So-
lot.
And the trail on Bryan Street.
Get the trail on Bryan Street.
Oh, that's right. I mean, there's just so much going on.
You see,
Well, just hope that we have a good April, you know.
yeah,
Don't get held back.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's move on then.
We gonna
to-
vote?
Oh,
Do we have a vote?
we got to vote in a second. We had a,
We have a motion and a second. All that discussion? We have a vote? Okay, call it. Let's vote. You already voted, Gary. Quick. Motion carries unanimous.
I'm on top of it.
You are. Okay, let's move on to a presentation by the city manager to Employee of the Month. Did we get to vote on who's getting this deal?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm pleased this evening to present the Employee of the Month to Lisa Vazion. She has been with the city since 2007 and was first in the engineering department, which is where I got to know her when I first came to the city. And since 2011 has been at the clerk's office. And she has participated in Leadership Shawnee, and in her spare time she volunteers at her church and loves to travel. And she's married and has 2 children. So, thank you, Lisa. Take a picture. Thank you.
Discussion concerning fire run fees, fire service area, mutual aid agreements, and fire service outside our city limits. Drew, could you come forward?
Mr. Mayor, the interim fire chief, Drew Tischer, unfortunately came down with the flu. And so we would respectfully request that this be deferred until the next agenda.
Okay.
So moved.
A motion by Vice Mayor Harris, second by Commissioner Hall. If this item be deferred, let's vote.
Judge, could he send that information out to us, make sure we
Yes.
have it ahead of time?
Ahead of time, you bet, sir.
Consider bids and proposals for the city manager executive search firm. Staff recommendation in this matter. I tried to keep you all informed. I've been sending you all the info. So requesting input. So I'll give you a task after this one.
This isn't necessarily a staff recommendation, this is a recommendation of the
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah, recommendation.
Which I have to be on. Our recommendation is to go with Appion. And I put the reasonings in a memo, but some of the main reasons were all-inclusive pricing. They have a one price, $21,000. I mean, if we request specific things that are not in their bid, then we would have to pay those, but we're not going to be nickel and dimed for different parts of their search firm. Also, they have presence in the Oklahoma area. Jim Noose is the person that we'll be working with, and he's out of Texas. He's a former city manager. He's a former public works director. He has a degree in engineering, so he's very familiar with municipal government. They've also completed several successful searches in Oklahoma. One thing that we were impressed with was that Affion, if they did one search for a company, they did several searches. They might do a city manager, they might do a police chief, they might do a fire chief. Repeat business, and that looked good for them. And they also offer a 2-year guarantee.
Guarantee.
If,
There's a guarantee. I mean, if we don't like the city manager we hire, they'll give us a new one?
if the city manager leaves, or if the commission votes to terminate their employment, then Affion will conduct another search. They will not charge us a fee. We will have to pay for expenses, but we don't have to pay another search fee.
That makes sense.
So, but that was a recommendation, and I believe everybody on the committee did vote for Affion.
Yeah.
Now, in their search, do they look at local candidates
Yes.
as much as possible?
Yes.
I think probably the first thing to do with Tammy to come down and meet with the committee and then meet with individuals, and maybe meet with the commissioners and individually and things like that, and have community meetings.
Right.
See what we're looking for. So it's be some hands-on stuff here for us.
Now, I actually am going to ask that each commissioner start putting together a list of questions that you would like to give to the search firm. You know what I'm saying? These things, and will be a lot of the committee is working on that same thing, compiling a list of things. And so each one of you, if you do that and email it to myself or Tammy, okay, and do that.
Mayor, was Mary Ann, were you on the committee to vet the search firm?
Nope.
Have you looked at the contract?
I've looked at the contract and any issues there.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
Yes, Mary Ann did
question.
approve
That's
the
a good question,
contract.
Mike.
There was a few changes that
Good
she wanted
question.
made, and those were made.
Okay,
great, okay.
good job, Tammy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion in this matter.
I move that we hire Affion for the search, sign a contract with them.
I'll second that.
Have a second by Commissioner Agee. Let's vote. Motion carries.
Hey, Wes, I saw a timeline, real quick question, in the packet, I kind of saw a timeline. That's just a tentative, or is that a target timeline, you know, what, target?
I mean, you know, if the candidates were not pleased, all of us, with their candidate.
One of them had 60 days, which we knew that was.
I think Avion was 90, was like 90 days, 90 or 120 days, yeah.
Affion was?
One of them had 60 days in there, which was, we felt was completely, out of sight.
Yeah, I think 90, 120 days, that's, you know.
By the time they conduct their meetings and come to Shawnee and meet with the commission and the committee and so forth, yeah. And I assume that, Tammy, is he gonna set up an appointment with you, or have we talked to him or the mayor or what? When he'll be in Shawnee?
I have not, I was waiting for
Okay,
this meeting, and then I'll contact you tomorrow.
all right, thank you.
Okay. We have it, and so the motion carried, so let's move on to new business. Any new business?
I have none, Mr. Mayor, no, sir.
City ma- any? Okay. Commissioners' comments.
I have several comments I'd like to make today. And Chief France, if I may call upon you to kind of give us some information on the families of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Bees and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Birch, if you're familiar with what might be currently the actions being taken. Today I attended the State of the State address at the state capitol with Governor Fallon going into office, and she asked for a moment of silence and for consideration for these families that were recently impacted by this huge loss of the incident and accident that had occurred. So do you have information on that? And I apologize for putting you on the spot like this.
Actually, no, I don't. I haven't received any updates today, either off the state teletype system or through other channels. I was really surprised that we haven't heard something yet come down, so I don't know if they're still waiting to make funeral arrangements for the one. And I haven't heard any hospital updates on the other one either.
Each patrolman, if they have one of the patrolmen killed in the line of duty, each patrolman makes a donation to the family, and that's just kind of like a life insurance policy to them. And each active highway patrol and retired make a contribution to the family. And I don't know how much that is, but it's a nice, sizable fund. But anyhow, that doesn't bring back the person by any means. But I know that they do that. And then Gene Fitzpatrick and his wife are both members of that, so I can find out from Gene what they usually do. But
Why don't I just take the power of this chair and let's just all stand and do a moment of silence? Okay, with that, you all right with you, Commissioner Shaw, since you brought it up? Okay, for these. Thank you.
Chief, do you don't have any information about the accident or anything? Just, they didn't know why the guy passed the police car and drove into the accident?
That night was a terrible driving night. I was actually coming back from, I'd met my daughter in the city that night, and it was just a terrible, terrible driving night. It was that really thick rain, mist that your wiper blade went across, and it didn't look like it had done anything because it was just so heavy and so thick. So the visibility was very, very poor that night. Conditions were extremely terrible. There was fog in some places, so I don't know. It was more towards Seminole, and these troopers were out of the Seminole area, not the Potawatomi County area. But you know, horrific driving conditions that night. So.
Chief, looking at this, like, obviously it kind of helps you, it's a good time for us to reflect on our own safety, like protocol. Is there anything that, like, are we adequately, are your police officers adequately equipped to, and also are the safety measures like intact for us to prevent any loss of life like this too?
Well, we like to always think that we receive enough training. I mean, the officers are trained. The units more than meet the standards for light bars and lighting equipment that we have on scene. Each officer has at least one traffic vest, if not another one, stuffed in the trunk of the car. So, and that's something that they're supposed to, when they're working an accident, is to
put it on first.
Is to put a reflective traffic vest on when they're working accidents, especially on anything that would be considered a state road or a state highway or a federal highway. It's actually a mandate. So.
I was coming down Paris, and I guess that's the time the motorcycle was running from the police, and you could see the lights, so I mean, it's plenty visible and everything that you could tell there's an accident. Then yesterday on, I guess that's Main and Harrison, there's an accident, Main and Harrison. They had one of the patrol cars or police cars sitting out in the middle of the intersection or in the lane there blocking the traffic, so you'd have to, you know, turn right or go around them or turn left. You couldn't go straight ahead because of the accident. So they do an excellent job. They do an excellent job. They're visible. There's a policeman there all the time directing traffic, and that's another one there taking the information.
Yeah.
Do you pull them over on 40 as well? Like you guys give them any or what do you call it, traffic stops on I-40?
When we have personnel, we will try to work with the district attorney's task force and do some highway interdiction. That's only when staffing levels allow for that. That's kind of low on our priority list, but if we have the staffing, then we'll make that happen from time to time.
Okay.
So amazingly enough, when we do that, we usually always catch somebody out there. It's amazing. So,
Chief France, I appreciate your help on that.
sorry,
This
I don't
would-
have any information. If I find out some, I will definitely email the
Please,
information to you.
please, if you would.
Thank you, Chief.
Um,
You said you had several questions, so come to the
Well,
next.
actually, that was one. I attended the OML budget workshop on Friday, and I've been in a learning stage and a learning process on trying to understand our budgets and how they work. So I was fortunate enough to get to attend an excellent workshop on Friday that I hope to put to good use here soon. Now, the State of the State address that I was speaking of earlier, Chief France, was one that I got to attend as a personal invitation from the governor. And she was talking about budget, performance planning, and how she's going to be incorporating some new strategies. But she had initially had mentioned about the two the one loss of life and the other one being in critical condition. So I just wanted to bring that point up, because to me, loss of life at any time is a horror, and you've been working so hard, I think, on making the city of Shawnee a much more safe environment for all of us, and I appreciate that. I hope that we as a city will begin to look at a number of the initiatives that the governor is trying to put into place. The State of the State Union address that she gave did talk about something that has not been used in the state of Oklahoma, or from what she was saying in the nation, and that's performance-based budgeting. And it's something that I'm big on in regard to outcomes and baseline measures, and I hope that we can look at that as a city and consider that, because it surely can show what our different departments are doing and how they're utilizing their time, and how we can help them improve their performance, and also show what we are receiving from our employees and how we can assist them in their development. So, thank you, Mayor.
Is that all?
That's all.
Okay. Other commissioners?
I just wanted to mention briefly the drought, the ongoing drought. I don't know if everybody read the article in the newspaper over the weekend, but it talked a little bit about Shawnee Lake and how the lake is down lower than it was last year at this time. And so they're predicting that the drought will continue. As you know, if you can take into consideration what the predictors say, we need to start being conservative in our water consumption. So just something to start bringing to light now, I think, while we're in the cooler months and the water usage is down. As we get into the spring and summer, if we don't have a wet spring or summer, we could find ourselves looking at voluntary rationing anyhow. So hopefully we will have a lot of rain, but just in case we don't, just like to caution everybody to please try to conserve water where you can.
I've had several people approach and call me and confront me in a coffee shop about that picture and showing how down it was, and they all said, why don't we start rationing right now? So that looks critical. So I know we have a level, right? And how far away are we from that? I mean, that picture was pretty, it was pretty opened my eyes. 3 or 3.5 feet before we go into level 1 rationing. Well, how do we get to work?
Bed out of West Watkins on now, aren't you? That's what I was asking.
Well, what about the splash pad? I mean, I hate to, and the pool. If we're talking about rationing, what kind of water use are we going to have for the splash pad? Is it going to be on only during a certain amount of hours a day, or?
No, I mean, the splash pad at Boy Scout Park would be a push-button activated system, so
okay.
It's certainly not going to run continuously, only when individuals come and want to use it. Of course, the season is probably about 4 months long or so with the splash pad, maybe 5 if it's particularly warm. I don't have the particular. I can get those for you and get the estimated gallons of
it just came to mind when we're talking about, like, if we're gonna have water issues and, you know, is that gonna be a huge water bill for the city as well? Like, will it?
I don't anticipate that, but we can certainly get that information.
Well, let's just pray for rain.
Right.
Justin, is that a reuse system?
Recycling system.
No,
I don't believe it is, no.
no, it's not.
No.
It's potable too, right?
Typically, they don't use that much water, really. In the grand scheme of things, it's a very small amount of water they use.
But
Yeah.
that's a good thought that Commissioner Dykstra has brought up in regard to the use of our water and what Commissioner G had just stated. We truly need to look at that in regard to our budget.
Well, that's, because what's the level at West Watkins?
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor. I believe the level of West Watkins today is around 1068, .3 something, and Twin Lakes is 1067.3431, something like that. And earlier when I was the trigger level for voluntary is 1064, and for level 1 I think it's 1060. So we're about 7 feet below trigger level 1 rationing, and about 3 feet below voluntary rationing.
You mean above, not
Above,
below?
yeah.
Okay.
There are two triggers, aren't there, for rationing? One is usage, when
One
it
is
drops to
usage,
a certain level.
and one is level.
Yeah, okay, it's what is that usage level?
I think it's without the papers in front of me, I think it's 6 million gallons a day.
Okay.
So
And
we're
we've
well
been
below
known
that.
to peak at 7 million sometimes in the summer, right?
Yeah, that's when the city of Tecumseh was on it.
So Justin, will it present an issue for you to try to do a comparison, maybe from a system that's similar to what our pool is going to be in our splash pad, and give us some figures and some gallons of usage on the water?
Because the pool will be recycled water.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to fill it, you add a little bit to it every once in a while, but you don't have
Right.
to.
And the splash pad, like Justin said, is a push button. In other words, it doesn't run continuous. It just has to be,
When people
you
there.
go over there, if you took your children over there, Michael, then and there was no one there, you push the button and it'd run, and then it shuts off unless you push the button again.
No, it's a great idea. It'll be a good, you know, feature for the people of the city. It's just, yeah, I'm just thinking like long-term costs and stuff.
I think it's something we'd have to address if we got down to that water situation.
Right.
Drinking
Golf
water and
courses.
sewer are a lot more important than, you know,
Right.
a lot of things. I do appreciate us discussing this, because I don't think we can pass this issue up. I think it's extremely critical. You know, when you look at people like, is it Duncan, that's been on water rationing all year, and it's, huh?
They've been on 2 or 3.
Oklahoma City's been on rationing, haven't they, too? So, I mean, here we are, we gotta keep aware of it, and please give us a heads up when we're getting close, and hopefully we can get some media coverage and tell everyone. I just got a tip on an email today that said, on the city email, that said, shower instead of take a bath. And I thought it was kind of interesting, so I tried that experiment with my wife. And I said, and she took her bath, okay, and then the next day, she put the plug down and she took her shower, and it really was interesting. She used about 1/3 the water showering that she did taking a bath.
Okay.
So
When you said with, I just thought you sorry.
I'm sorry, I asked my wife to take it.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know how
teed
you're
it
gonna
up.
follow that. I mean, are we getting any closer with VSI, or what are we gonna do?
That's gonna be on your agenda in 2 weeks.
If it's not, I want something on there about open up to hire somebody, because I mean, if we've gone 6 months or too long without.
Be on your agenda 2 weeks.
She's working hard on it, our attorney.
Well, I don't think, Marion's not the problem.
No, she's not the problem, but I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is.
I
if
agree
we
with
can-
you.
Let's
Let's move on. We don't want to get things
We've gotten
going.
really
You're going to
far
have plenty of
afield.
opportunity. Okay? I promise you. Okay, any other commissioner comments? And Okay, then I will recess our commission meeting, and I will convene the Shawnee Airport Authority and declare that we do have a quorum here. Item number 1 is consider approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hall.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Harrod. Let's vote. Motion carries. Any new business, Mr.
No,
City
sir.
Manager?
No new
Okay.
business.
Not, I will adjourn the Shawnee Municipal Authority. And I'll call to order the Shawnee Municipal Authority, declare we do have a quorum in that matter. Item number 1 is consider approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
by Vice Mayor Harrod, a second by Commissioner Hall. Yes, sir? On the consent agenda?
Yeah, I just was, just item B. I was just kind of, okay. I thought he was already on the PCDA board.
Now, the city manager is on there, and so,
Instead, we're gonna have the.
felt like it'd
We're
be
gonna have
better
someone
for-
here that knows more about water than
That
this.
does the, yeah, I got you.
Excellent.
So that slot for the city manager will be.
Well, it's appointed by the county commissioners.
There is no specific spot for a
It-
city representative at all, but they have always, the county commissioners have always
Allowed us to
put
have,
some, they make the appointments, but it's my understanding they've always wanted them put on.
so we'll have an SMA like rep on the PCDA board.
Right,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Good.
Okay.
I guess, could you educate me a little bit? Now, Steve will be our representative. Will he be doing the actions of what we ask him through Justin to do, like the city manager has previously done?
Steve?
Right.
Well, I don't know that, he's just a member of that board. I think he can express, and since he knows
As-
we're selling them and doing all that stuff, but he'd have to come back to the commission.
Okay, because
For
it
us.
clearly states city's representative.
Right, well, yeah, he is, wherever the city manager was on there, Dr. Tarrant spoke with me, and he said, it might be better since you're going through this change, and plus plus Steve knows so much about water. And that's he lives and breathes it, that it would really be a wonderful thing to have him on.
Well, we set the rates and all that, so
Yeah,
it's not
we don't
gonna
have
be
anything to do
like
with
that.
that. Okay, good question. What else? Anybody else?
Have we already got a motion there?
Yes, we have a motion and a second. Had a little discussion. Okay, let's vote. Motion carries. Okay, item number 2 is consideration, discussion, and possible action on an agreement with Lester Loving and Davis, PC, for legal services in connection with matters related to encroachment into the city's utility service areas by other entities.
I think I was the one, Mayor, who brought up the need for us reviewing this agreement in regard to services. I was being educated, I think, on the process at the time on what the cost was and the need for this type of service. So, thank you.
Do we have a staff report on this, or?
Anybody? If not,
Not really, it's
okay, we're gonna go into.
recommended, no,
No.
not going to executive.
This isn't
session on this
executive
one.
on this
No,
one.
not on this one, but I mean,
This is-
yeah.
So, but did
Can
we ever
just
get
come
the,
up there?
Okay.
did you ever give us the numbers and the
The
contract?
numbers are in your packet.
Okay.
It's $275 for the senior partner, but the attorney who will be doing the primary work under his supervision is a lower number, and that's going to average out at $250 or less per hour.
And this will be for a declared, what do you call it,
Well,
declaratory?
it'll be for them to give us advice and decide exactly what we're going to do, but no lawsuit will be filed or any action taken without your approval. This is just a matter of retaining an attorney and then getting final advice and subject to your approval of how to move forward.
I think one of my concerns at the time was the cost factor and whether we had looked at other firms on a like service to see how their costs would be in regard to
Did you compare them to another?
My life experience is that if we can get somebody for $250 or $275, we're doing really well. The only, we do some work with Margaret Love's firm. We only pay her $140 an hour. And I don't know why she does it that cheap. Everyone else that does it costs like $300 an hour. We, even if we use people locally, we pay in the neighborhood of $250, $275 as a kind of a unit rate. Local firms, I mean, it's really the standard number.
I think the question we're asking though is, did you ask, not the price, I'm not anyway, I'm saying, did you vet others as well, besides
In terms of firms?
a friend, yeah.
Yes, I considered several firms. We had previously worked with a larger firm that we were using when I first came here that was already on board, and we felt like that wasn't getting us exactly what we needed.
Right.
And broke that relationship some time ago. We've also used a lawyer, but not as a lawyer. We had used her as a consultant because of her experience, and I'll bring you that agreement next time. But she's worked for a consulting arrangement for $100 an hour. And she will continue to provide those, assuming you approve it, because she can track all the documents. I mean, a lot of the information that we have now obtained by her research of public records and tracking public documents. That also keeps her costs down, because we have somebody doing it for us at $100 as opposed to even a legal assistant for the firm that's doing it at a higher rate than that. It comes out of my budget, and I assure you I'm very careful that I not lose any more of my budget money than I have to. When the bills come in, I review them to see if they reflect, if I think it's an appropriate amount for the work that was done, what they have billed us, for example, for conversations with me or the city manager or any other staff member, to see if that reflects what I believe is appropriate time consumed. And I have marked bills down in the past and asked people to rebill. So
I'd like to make a motion to approve the retainment of Lester, Loving, and Davies.
Second.
A motion to approve and a second. Okay, we've had a lot of discussion. Did anybody get cut off on discussion? I want to
No,
make sure.
it's fine.
Okay, everybody fine? Okay, let's vote. Motion carries. Okay, any new business?
Yes, sir.
No new business, okay. Then I will adjourn the municipal authority and reconvene our city commission meeting. Item number 8 is discussion, consideration, and possible action to go into executive session for discussion in accordance with 250A's purchase of appraisal of real property. Chair will entertain a motion in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Harrod, we have a second. Let's vote. Motion carries, okay. Then let's go into executive session, and then we will. I'm going to call us back to order.
That's where it is.
Okay, and item number 9 is consider matters discussed in executive session in accordance with 25 OS 307B3, purchase of appraisal and real property. Is there a motion in this matter?
I
So
make a
moved.
motion to approve, to enter in negotiations to purchase property up to the amount discussed, maximum amount discussed.
We have a motion. Second. And a second by Vice Mayor Harrod. Let's vote. Hold on. Phyllis has never asked us to do that. Phyllis has never.
Watch
she
it.
don't employ for the month she thinks.
Yeah, now you're a big deal now. You're
Boy
employed.
of the month and everything.
Complacency.
Okay. Oh.
Y'all ever get some help?
Motion carries. Man,
Y'all ever get some help?
I want to thank,
Oh.
again, I want to thank each and every one of you for the job you're doing in the city and the time we're putting in this matter, and thank you each so much, and enjoy your paycheck from the city. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks.